Hospital Homebound Home-Based Service Provider Training. Hospital Homebound and Home-Based goals is to provide a mechanism for students to attend school. Hospital Homebound is not intended to supplant regular school service. It is designed to be temporary. This is who is involved in Hospital Homebound and Home-Based services. In order to be eligible for Hospital Homebound, students must be enrolled in a Houston County school, anticipate a minimum of 10 days absent, complete applications, and forms must be completed by a licensed physician or a licensed mental health professional who is treating the student for the presenting diagnosis. The home-based eligibility is the student must be enrolled in a Houston County school, currently a special ed eligibility, and have a IEP placement decision. These are ineligible conditions. Who can provide hospital homebound or home-based services? You must be employed by the Houston County School District as a certified teacher not working on a timesheet. You must complete the training in Vector, complete an application, and complete a contract yearly. The rate for pay for teachers for hospital homebound or home-based services is $35 an hour with 1 hour of planning for every 3 hours of services. Mileage will follow the system pay rate. The classes that are covered by hospital homebound are not structured to supplant the regular school day and may therefore limit the number and type of classes offered. Home-based students receive access to FAPE, and all courses are provided as determined by the IEP team. These are the student documents in PowerSchools. You can see an example below. These are the forms for the service providers. You can find them in the top right-hand corner where the question mark is under Other Resources and Hospital Homebound or Home-Based. Payroll. No email forms or copies accepted for payroll, travel, or service calendar forms. Payroll record, you must print the form from PowerSchools. You must have an original signature of provider and parent. It should be filled out by hand, no whiteout, and complete all student information at the top of the form. Attendance sheet, you will email it to the hospital homebound secretary. The assignment sheet will also be emailed. Service provider and home-based provider's weekly journal must be up to date in order to receive your payment for providing these services. If all documents are not submitted, the provider will be contacted by the hospital homebound or home-based secretary. Travel. Reimbursement for business of a personally owned vehicle is calculated per mile from point of departure after deduction for normal commuting mileage based on the current reimbursement rate. If travel occurs on the weekend or holiday outside of the normal work schedule, mileage is calculated from point of departure with no reduction for normal commuting miles. For example, we have an example here where it deducted the commute hours from your home to school and going to provide the student for services. If you have any issues in figuring out how to work this travel form, please contact the hospital homebound secretary and she'll be more than happy to help you figure this out. For your travel log, download and save it from PowerSchool and complete it on the computer. Business Office will not accept handwritten forms. Complete the top portion of the form with your information. Be sure to put the student's name in the top left-hand corner. Use your address, not the student's address. Remember, this log is not the time you serve the student. It is only for travel to and from services. Print and sign and date all pages in ink. Your travel must be submitted within 45 days of the first entry, or it will be denied by the business office. A service calendar must be completed at the first visit with the parent. Provide a copy to the parent. Any changes to the schedule and the reason for the change is reflected on this calendar. The service calendar documentation if there is non-compliance issues and also verification for payroll record. Turn in with payroll record. Service calendar should match your payroll record. Your service provider journal, there is an example to the right here. Please make sure that you document each visit with the student. Include start and end time, each visit, notes regarding progress or any compliance concerns. Journals should be updated weekly. When services are completed, enter final service date and completion date. Total hours served will be calculated at the bottom of the journal page, and then you will change the status to final. Service hours in the journal must match the payroll hours submitted. Remember, journal, payroll record forms, attendance forms, travel forms, and service calendar. Documentation of services in the journal must match the payroll and travel dates. Students assigned to me, what do I do now? Contact the parent within 24 to 48 hours of receiving your assignment email. Find out what work the student already has and what books are needed before the first session. Contact the student's teacher for assignments, and if all work is completed, request review material for the time of absence. Services must be provided. Pick up anything from the school that is needed and begin services. At the first session, review with the parent and the student their responsibility, which is a handout, and fill out the calendar with future scheduled services. If 3 attempts are made unsuccessfully, notify the hospital homebound secretary, and home-based service providers should contact the program specialist for that school. Service hours. State requires a minimum of 3 hours of services per week. This can be in person or Zoom. Home-based IEP determines the service hours, no less than 3 hours a week. High school finals, statewide and district assessment exemptions are not allowed. Services can be provided any day, weekend, or holiday as the parent and provider agree upon. Zoom meeting expectations. Online attendance sheet should be printed and attached to the hospital homebound home-based payroll form and submitted monthly. Document Zoom meetings in the journal. No phone meetings are allowed. No-show procedures. If the service provider arrives at the meeting location and the student nor parent is not present, the provider may claim 30 minutes of service. Document in the journal for the no-show. If the service provider is en route to the meeting location and the parent cancels the meeting, provider may claim mileage. Document in the journal of the cancellation. No-show Zoom procedures. If the student has logged in after 5 minutes, contact parent by phone. Document in the service provider journal. If the student does not log in after 15 minutes, the student is considered a no-show. Document in the service provider journal. Providers may be paid for 30 minutes for no-shows. Issues and concern. Classroom teacher fails to give assignments to hospital homebound or home-based teacher. Hospital homebound providers should contact the school liaison and ask for his or her assistance. The home base should contact the program specialist. If that does not work, contact the hospital homebound secretary and we will investigate. Do not stop trying to get work or stop services. Document any issues or concerns in the weekly journal. Student does not complete assignments in a timely fashion. Student's classroom teacher will give work deadlines. If the student isn't finished at the deadline, you will still collect the assignment and return it to the teacher. It is not your responsibility to determine completion. Students seen working or extracurricular activities. Does not apply to home-based students. Don't go looking for it, but contact the liaison or hospital homebound secretary if this is an issue with hospital homebound students. The committee will address the issue with parents. Assigned hospital homebound teacher or home-based teacher does not perform duties. As a service provider, you are responsible for meeting weekly with student, ensuring student work gets to and from the classroom teacher, and completing the weekly journal. If you are not fulfilling your duties, you can be dismissed as the provider. The provider's journal needs to reflect the hours you are requesting to be paid for. The documentation of hours served should match the payroll record form. Parent not compliant with the parental responsibilities. HHB should contact the HHB secretary for 2 consecutive incidents. The home base should contact the program specialist after 2 consecutive incidents. How will the hospital homebound teacher or home-based teacher know when an intermittent student is absent and requires services? Classroom teacher, special ed case manager, or school liaison will contact the provider. Student not available or refuses to participate. Make an attempt, then document in the weekly journal. This goes back to being non-compliant. Contact the HHB secretary. This is the committee for the hospital homebound review. And home base, this is the secretary for home base and hospital homebound, Ms. Nicole Jordan. Please let her know if you have any questions or concerns about hospital homebound or home base. Home base, you will give Krista Nelson a call, who is the coordinator of student services. This is the end of your hospital homebound training.